Hey G45ers, welcome. Today we are going to be creating this gorgeous Christmas magic DIY lantern using our latest Club G45 Volume 10 kit. All of these goodies included. See all the details below if you want to learn more about that club kit. We'll also be doing a second video creating this gorgeous little mini album using also the Christmas magic that is included in the project sheet for this kit. So I'm Aimee Filimoehala, so come along and let's get to crafting. To give you a little close-up tour of this really fun Christmas magic lantern we're going to be creating. As you can see, we have another beautiful creation by our very talented designer, Annette. And so today we'll be creating this together. So what we're using is one of our deep rectangle matchbook boxes as the base of the lantern. And then we're of course decorating it with our Christmas magic collection and showing you some fun techniques on how to do that. So let's get going. All right, so the first thing you're going to need to grab is you want to grab out of your pack of Christmas magic, you want to grab the Happy Holidays paper that looks like this on the A side, and on the B side it looks like this. So you're going to grab that paper and you're going to cut that down to 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. And so once you've done that, and of course you want to be referencing your project sheet that comes with your Volume 10 kit, so you have all these dimensions and everything. So what we're going to be doing is cutting this frame out to go around the outside of the box, like you can see this piece here. So there's two different ways to do this. You can either get your ruler out and you're going to measure in 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 all the way around, or alternatively you can cut out a piece of scrap paper and cut it to 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and then you can just center that. So you can do either, just depending on what you feel more comfortable with. I personally think the best way to do this is take a pencil and a ruler on a craft mat and then just go around and measure down 1 1/4, and then take a ruler and go across, and then with your pencil trace that and do that all the way around. And I have done that already on this sheet, and now I'm going to grab the Sharpie and I'm going to do that same thing that I did with the pencil. And I'm going to go around with my ruler and line it up on the lines. So I have a reference point to line the ruler up at the top and also at the bottom, kind of pressing that ruler down so it's secure against the paper. And then I'm just going to cut out this middle piece of the paper, and I'm going to just repeat that and go around. So, and this is a nice technique to use when covering the outside of our matchbook boxes, so that then you don't have to have these 4 separate pieces of paper where you have to miter the edges. This just gives a nice finished, and it looks like I need to go over that a couple times with my X-Acto knife so that I can cut more seamlessly. If you don't have an X-Acto knife, you could just cut, you could use a paper trimmer if you're really precise with that, once you trace that with your pencil, or you could use your scissors too. So there are alternative options. So then you're going to just pop that out, that centerpiece, and then you'll be left with this nice frame like so. So that is our beginning of the exterior of our lantern. So once you have that, you're gonna then take a 3/4 inch circle punch if you have one. If not, there is another trick that I'm gonna show you, and we're gonna just cut the edges on all 4 corners to have this fun finished kind of have that effect to all 4 corners. So we're gonna just take our hole punch, kind of eyeball it in about halfway. Again, and just do that on all 4 edges. And so when, as you see, it's gonna have then, when we put these little circle chipboard pieces, they just fit in there perfectly when we have the paper cut like that. So what you could do instead is you could take that chipboard piece and you could actually kind of trace around it and then cut just up like 1/8 of an inch or so. So that is the alternative if you do not have one of those 3/4 inch punches. So now that we have that done, we are going to grab our metal door plates, and we're only going to be using the ornate one for this project. The other one you will use for the second video that we're featuring for this project sheet for Club G45 this month, and that is a little accordion mini album. So you want to save those pieces for that one. And I'm going to just set that aside from now. And so this piece is going to be going just right there on the center of this. So I'm going to assemble it first. So I'm just going to put my brad with the door knocker through and then open those flanges like so. And then we can either use a nice, really strong adhesive and just adhere that on, or use the brads. So we are gonna take this and we're gonna measure it where we're gonna poke those holes in. And the other one is up here. So with my crocodile, I'm going to use this little, actually might just use my X-Acto knife if I don't want the hole to be too big. So just kind of pierce that paper like so. Pierce that through. Perfect. Do the same. Okay. Now I'm going to take my door plate, and before I put that down, I'm going to put some adhesive on the back side. So I have a really nice strong Dazzle Tack. It's a jewelry glue, so it's nice for these heavier duty kind of thing. So any heavy duty glue that you might have, or you could even use a heavy duty tape would work as well. You have really strong like score tape or something like that. So I'm going to take that. Before I put that down, I'm going to put my brads through as well. Okay. Now I have to do just one brad at a time. I'm going to stick that through the paper. close the flanges on the other side there. Do the same with the other brad. As you can see, now we have our door plate added there to the front of the cover. From there, now we're going to start and we're going to decorate the front with some of our roses from our new Rose Bouquet collection, using our triumphant red flowers that go perfectly with this collection. I'm just going to pull those out. So we'll be working with those to decorate So I'm going to take one of the bigger flowers and a couple of the smaller as well as some of the greens. Just going to adhere some of these down here. For the greenery, I don't think I need that really heavy duty adhesive, but I am using a liquid adhesive on this. Put some of the greens down. And use one of these fun little metal pieces. Trim that end a little bit. Dab a little bit more glue down there because I'm going to be gluing a bunch of stuff. And with the roses, you could use a heavier glue like this jewelry glue, or you could even use a hot glue gun if you really want those to stay on there, because we don't want them to fall off. And this is just such a fun holiday project. I love it. And with the stems on these buds, you want to trim those down so they're not as long. And we're going to tuck those in behind here. And then put one more of these bigger little open roses there. Just kind of apply some pressure to make sure those are sticking on there. Looks like we need some more on this one. And these new Rose Bouquet flowers are handmade paper flowers that we just created and we love. They match our collections perfectly. So they're our signature colors. So let that kind of dry. And so now from here, we are going to decorate the top left-hand corner. And so you want to grab your chipboard sheet And we're going to grab this Merry Christmas tag that's in the bottom right-hand corner. I'll just pop that out. Once I have that. And of course, you can ink your edges however you would like to kind of dress this up. And I'm going to add a little bit of green foliage to behind this, because we're going to also add some flowers up at the top. So I'll add some more adhesive onto all across the top of here to get this to stay. And I will just press that down, kind of pat up that extra adhesive we have there. Then I'm going to take a couple more of the little flower buds and add those to the top. Oh, got one of our G45 mascots saying hello to everybody. That's Isa. All right. Now we're just adding some more of our little roses up here in the top left corner, and I think it's coming together beautifully. And the thing that's fun about this lantern is, of course, you could do this with any of your favorite G45 collections. So it wouldn't have to even be specifically a holiday lantern. So you could definitely do that for any holiday, really, or a not holiday at all, if you just wanted something for a regular home decor item. So I'm having those pieces just kind of hang out for a moment to continue to dry. And we will adhere that to the front of our deep matchbook box. So in your kits, you have this 8.5 by 6.5 by 3.25 deep matchbook box. And so if you want to take that out and open up, take off the packaging, of course. Just dispose of that. All right. And I'm just going to pull out the box for now. And then now this piece is going to be adhered to the front. So I'm going to just glue that on to the front now. So carefully put down some liquid adhesive. I can put this on here, and I like to use the liquid for this because then I have a little flexibility. Since we already have all those flowers and everything in the metal, it's getting a little heavy, so it's nice to be able to maneuver that around a little bit. if you know what I mean. So, see, that looks really nice on there. Make sure to get it all pressed down there nice and evenly. So now we are going to grab those 4 little December 25th circle chipboard pieces from your chipboard. So you can just take those out of there. Oops, mine are going flying. And all right. So you have these little December 25th. So those just fit perfectly in the corners. So if you do have G45's ink, our ink collection, we have Triumphant Red is one of our colors as well. And that is would be really wonderful for inking the edges. So if you had that, or I'm sure in your ink collections, there's a lot of colors that would go really nicely. Just glue those down there. It's always that. All right. So as you can see, that's just coming together so beautifully. So now we have the cover or the front of our lantern looking very nice. We're going to set that aside for now. Now we're going to want to grab our chipboard. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to grab this piece in the big frame with the little girl in the center. So we're going to pull that out. Because that's going to be going on the inside of our lantern. And as you can see, that is kind of popped up. And so how we pop that up is we're actually going to be taking some of the scrap pieces from the chipboard, and we're going to be putting that behind it to pop it up. So what we want to do is just cut. I'm just going to take this top part, put my extra chipboard aside, and I'm going to just create these 5 little pieces that I'm going to adhere on top of one another so I can create this dimension that's deep enough for that little chipboard piece to really pop out. So try to get them, you know, around the same size-ish. And I'm just going to glue those one on top of the other. Okay, so now I have glued my 5 layers of scrap chipboard together to create that platform for my chipboard piece that will be going in the center of the inside of my lantern. So once I have that, I am going to adhere that down to the center. That in there. So from here, I'm now going to grab these striped Santa's Little Helper, the B side, the little cute bees on the other side. So we're going to be using the B side, and you're going to cut that down to 6 inches by 8 and So once you cut that down to 6 inches by 8 1/4 inch, that will be adhered to the inside of your box. So do that inside, get that all centered in there. All right. Then from here, we're going to start just decorating, putting this piece, it's going to go on the center of the box, just right in the middle. And that is going to be our centerpiece. So that nice popped up chipboard has a really nice feel to it with that dimension behind there. Then we are going to grab one of our bigger roses, and that's going to get glued to the left side. And of course, these are always just suggestions on how to do this. If you want to do it in your own way, we love that and encourage the creativity. So I'm gluing that rose down there. Now I'm going to grab the signature page from our Christmas Magic collection. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be fussy cutting a few different elements from the paper. So I'm going to be cutting out the 3 stamps across the bottom. Also, I'm going to be cutting out some of the holly and the berries throughout as well. So from the holly and the berries, you want to cut out from the very top corner, this piece up in the top right, as well as some of the holly over here on the left side, and then just this little piece down here in the right corner. So you want to fussy cut those pieces out from your signature page, but do be careful because we are going to be using the B side for the back of our lantern, so you don't want to cut too much in because we are going to need a big rectangle for the back side of the lantern. So I got those stamps out and then those holly pieces. And I have pre-cut those pieces out, fussy cutting. And we have, so I've got my 3 stamps. And as you can see, since with one of my pieces of holly kind of overlaps on this little girl stamp, and so one of the corners is kind of cut out, which is fine because we're going to overlap these so you're not even going to be able to tell once we put those across the bottom. So as you can see, completed sample, we have those 3 stamps that go across the bottom there, as well as the holly that just gets wrapping kind of around the chipboard piece to add that fun decoration. So I'm going to just start playing with that and positioning these pieces down where I think I want them to go. And the thing that's just fun how with Graphic 45 papers that you can create so many little embellishments just by fussy cutting out different pieces from different papers and kind of creating a whole new look to this paper. Glue that down. So these are just kind of wrapping around that frame. And what doesn't say Merry Christmas like some holly berries? And sticky fingers. All right. So as you can see, this is just coming together so beautifully. So now I'm gonna grab a little bit of some 3D adhesive. And pop up my little stamps. So I'm gonna be putting my little blue Merry Christmas stamp to the far right. So I'll glue that one down first. And depending on what kind of 3D adhesive you prefer to work with, like a 3D tape would be really nice for these. Okay, so now I have popped up those stamps across the bottom there, kind of fanned them out, and I've added all of my holly pieces. And so now I'm ready to grab my Santa's Little Helper paper. Gonna grab the B side again, and we're going to be cutting the two pieces down to 2 3/4 inch by 8 1/4 of an inch for the sides, and then 2 to 6 inches by 2 3/4 inches for the top and bottom. So once you have those pieces cut down, you're going to adhere those to the inside of your box. Create that nice finished look. That stripe just goes perfectly in there. Very nice. And then on the sides as well. So now we have the inside of our lantern complete. So I'm going to slide that in there. As you can see, this is coming together beautifully. So I'll set that there for now. So now you want to grab your Happy Holidays paper, and you are going to cut it down to 2 of them for 2 inches by 7 1/8 by 8 1/4. So these are going to be for the sides. And then you're also, from that remainder of the Christmas Magic, the signature page, you know how we did the fussy cutting from that? We're going to be using the B side, and just right in the center you want to cut this down to 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. So that is from the paper that we've already been cutting from. So we're going to adhere these as sides as well. And just make sure with the writing on both of these papers, even on the paper with the Happy Holidays, there is some text in the background. So just make sure when you're adhering that to the sides of your box or your back of the box, that the text is right side up, because it's definitely something that I know I've done that myself before, and so I always try and remind everyone to keep an eye on that text, because one of our signature looks with our paper, and our designers they're always layering lots of layers, and text is one of our go-tos here at G45 in our paper layers. And so that's a very common feature. So paying attention to that, which way is right side up is key. So, and got that, the sides. And then across the back is going to be the green B side will be what will be face out. Nice finishing touch. So I'm going to adhere that across the back here. All right. So you can see that is our sides all taken care of. Now from here, we are going to be building this cute little roof on top of the lantern. And so for that part, you're going to want to grab some medium chipboard. And from medium chipboard, you want to grab, we're going to cut a piece down to 7.5 by 4 inches. And so the objective is that the chipboard is about 1/8 of an inch thick. So if you need to double up on your chipboard, you might need to cut like 2 pieces and then adhere them together to get about 1/8 of an inch thick. So you want to, and so since what we're using is a medium chipboard, we're going to actually be gluing the two together. Like I said, if you have a really heavy, thick chipboard already, like a really heavy duty one, you wouldn't need to have 2 pieces. So we have 2 pieces that's 7.5 by 4. I'm going to just glue those together. This is the typical chipboard width that probably most of you have in your stash, and so probably have to glue 2 together to get that, because we want for the base of our lantern a nice sturdy base that we're going to cover. So now that we've glued those 2 pieces together, we're going to grab a candy cane ribbon. So we have our candy cane ribbon. So we're using the B side for this. And so I need a 6 inch by 9.5. So that. So by 6 inches. All right, so I have my 6 inch by 9.5 piece right here. All right. And now from here, because we want the green check on the outside, I'm going to fold that over, and then I'm going to take my chipboard piece that we just, and we're going to put that just right there in the center, and I'm going to adhere that down so it stays in place to the center of my paper there. And from here, you're going to want a bone folder or something like that so you can score those edges around. I'm just going to quickly go around the outside of that. I'm going to fold up my longer edges, have that do the same with the opposite side. Right. And then actually do the bottom pieces as well. I'm going to take my scissors And I'm going to actually cut just a little strip like so. And these so what this is going to look like is when I fold this over, it's going to have this nice finished corner. So I have my longer piece that I'll adhere down first after I do all 4 sides. And then I have these angled, the paper cut on an angle like so. And so then when I adhere that all down, it's going to have a nice finished edge. So you want to repeat and do that with all 4 corners. And I know that there's a few different ways to do this. So if you have a way that you prefer, that you have mastered, of course, feel free to do that. It's always fun to see different tricks on ways to do these little craft secrets. Like these corners can be kind of tricky. So from here, I'm going to now glue first down the edges, these corner pieces. They look like kind of like little ties, I think. All right, and then you're going to fold in your pieces and glue those in and burnish them down. So I like to glue down the same sides so the finishing look. So both the long pieces and then the shorter. Looks like I need a little bit more adhesive there. All right. And so if you can see, now we have some nice, beautiful ends on there. So we have that, and that will be the top piece on our lantern. So now we're going to put this aside for now, and we're going to start building the layers that go up. It's basically like building little boxes. So from the same candy cane ribbons, you're going to want to cut out a 5" by 8.5". Also a 4 by 7.5, and actually this is a 4 by 7.5, and then this is the 3 by 6.5, and then we need a 5 by 8.5". So I'm going to cut that down to that. So 5 by 8.5. Okay, so now we have our 3 pieces. So I'm going to take my scoreboard out, and I'm going to score each side on all 4 sides to 1 inch. So that's my scoreboard. Going to score at 1 inch. things are getting a little slippery there, so we'll move the craft mat. So at 1 inch, 1 inch all the way around. Okay. So once I have done that, and I'm going to actually do that to all 3 of them. So we're going to fold these going so that our check print stay on the outside. And we're going to just be creating a little box. So I'm going to cut on the corner, that square, and I don't want to cut it, the side piece entirely away, so I'm going to cut about half of it and then do the same with the bottom part of it. So that little flap is going to help give me a piece to glue behind, like so. So I'm going to do the same to all 4 corners. So you can see, and have that little flap. All right, so I've now created these little tabs so I can adhere these around the back side. All right, so I'm realizing that I forgot one very important step, which is not only to score at 1 inch, but to score at a 1/2 inch as well, because you need to have the fold marks to go across the bottom. So that's very important. So with all 3 of the papers at a 1/2 inch, just go across around the 4 outside edges and score at that 1/2 inch. So back to that larger piece. So now when you see, and we're creating the little box, this is going to fold together nicely. So I have my 2 flanges, and then I have my piece that kind of goes over the top of those to secure that into place. And the same thing with the other side. So we're going to do the ends, the shorter ends first to tuck over the top of those flanges. And I think you have to make sure those are not too tall so they're not getting in the way. Just trimming them down. And so that these little flanges are going to tuck behind there, and you fold that piece down over the top like so. And we will adhere it, but I just want to make sure everything is fitting together the way it's supposed to. And it's looking like it is. So now that we have our little lid, I'm going to add some adhesive on to that to hold that all together. So I'm going to kind of unwind here. And so all right, so I have added adhesive, just making sure to pinch this nicely, hold that into place. And I've created my first box kind of lid that's going to be going on the top of that. And so now you're going to do the same steps with the next two pieces as well. Okay, so now that you have put all three of your little boxes together, you're going to then take some adhesive and you're going to glue that base down to the top of your box. And make sure you want a nice strong adhesive. Then from there, with the liquid adhesive, you're going to just trim. I'm going to put some adhesive along the edges of the bottom of these little boxes we've just created, and you're going to adhere that down to the center of the top of your box, just centering it on there. And if you have like a Q-tip or something like that, that would be nice to kind of, or a tissue, rub up any of the excess liquid adhesive. Just get that first one on there, and then you're going to repeat, and you're going to do the same to the two smaller topper boxes as well. You can just see how it's creating this really great dimension for the top of our lantern. I like using a liquid adhesive that dries clear, of course, because on these little skinny edges, it's hard to see. I mean, you can kind of see that, but once this dries, but I want to get up any of the excess that I can. And as you can see, we have that coming together just beautifully. Ah! Need to put some more down across the top. Apply this a little bit more liberally. Let that dry before I move it around a whole lot. Okay. It's really that on there. All right. And so from here, I'm now going to grab my Countdown Surprise paper, and I'm going to be using the B side, and I want to cut this to 12 inches by 2 inches. Once I've done that, I'm going to score I'm going to score this along each side at a 1/2 inch. Flip and do again at a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to fold those two in to create a do this one a little bit. Okay. Then you're going to adhere that together. Just gonna, anytime the paper, sometimes if you score it a little bit too much, it might crack a little bit, so I like to ink up those edges if that is the case. So but before I glue that down there, I'm going to grab a little decorative finish, nip a sticker from our sticker sheet. I'm going to grab this little green border sticker. I'm just going to put that across the center of my handle here for that extra little decoration. And that just goes on there perfectly because it is 12 inches. Okay. Now this is ready to go. Get glued on to the sides. So I'll add some adhesive just to the bottom pieces of the handle. And with my bone folder is how I created that curl. Just kind of ran that across underneath. And now I kind of hold that on there. And just to finish this off, we're going to add some flowers across the top. And some of the greenery I have left as well. Just to have that final decoration. And that is just going to get glued across the top here. Perfect. Let that still dry as it is, but as you can see, once we have the whole topper on and the handle with the lovely little rose topper, as well as just all of the fun details, we have this gorgeous Christmas magic lantern, perfect for the upcoming holiday season. So thanks for joining, and be sure to check out the second video for this volume 10 Club G45 with the accordion mini album. Bye.